Hey, everyone. Oh, I got to turn this off. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Got Brad, and we got a special guest, Podunk Picker, with us today. So we're just going to sit back and talk. And yeah. Hey, Podunk, tell us, Darcy, tell us about what you do, your channel, what's going on with your channel, and how long you've been selling, what platforms you've been selling on, so everybody can get to know you.
Okay. Well, pretty much I've been doing this. I kind of grew up doing this. You know, my biological father used to do this, and he used to do a little bit of this, driving around picking stuff up that people threw out. Me, I actually, grew up doing this. My mom would take us to garage sales. We'd all pile up in the yellow Dodge Aries station wagon and go garage selling. And then we'd yell when we see a sign, and we'd run up to the garage sale and go to garage sales. I continue doing that, and I also, have always, if I'm driving along and somebody threw something out, it's a value. My kids are always amazed that I can do that going 70 miles an hour and do a U-turn. And they're like, you saw something, didn't you? And then I'll do a U-turn, go back and pick it up. And do that a lot. I love going to auctions, and I think auctions, we were talking a little bit before, Chris, that you bought some stuff at some auctions, some online auctions. Live auctions are my thing. I love live auctions. I am always there till the end, because what happens at the end is they run out of time, and then they bring the box lots out, and they'll just sit there and $2. I'm there, and then I ended up with my vehicle full of stuff. Some of it's valuable and can be sold online. A lot of it is garage sale fodder, or I donate it, and that's all you can do with it. The YouTube thing and the social media thing. So I had watched for a couple of years. I'd watched a whole bunch of Commonwealth Picker. We talked about Harry Tornado. I watched him a little bit, and some other folks making content, and I'm like, looking at what they're doing, and they're picking up video games. No, nothing against you, Brad, if you pick up video games. Where I live, if I see a video game, I don't really know much about video games. If I see an Atari and they're in television, I know about those. And they're picking up this stuff, and I'm like, I'd never pick that up. I wouldn't even see that there. So in one of my videos, I bought a whole bunch of chainsaws, and I sold those. And people go, chainsaws? How the heck you ship that? You got to have some knowledge of it a little bit. In my listing for a chainsaw, it says I'm going to take the handle off, and I'm going to take the bar off, and I'm going to disassemble it. And the person who's buying it knows how to put that stuff back on. I have something I bought for $2. It's out in the garage. I haven't listed it yet. I was editing a video and I saw it in there. I bought probably it's from the 30s. It's a half horse motor. It runs. I just got to get it listed. And, I got to make a makeshift cord so I can plug it in so I can do a video that shows it works. And it'll probably sell for $50, $60, $75, and it'll cost $30 to ship, because it's made in America and you can't get those anymore, and people want them. So I try to sell, I probably sell a lot of things that people don't sell. And so I try to, if I can, in a video, feature that, or say, I sold this. One thing that I got, I did a video on it a year ago, and I did a short on it. It didn't do very well, as much as I thought it would, but I was out citywide cleanup in a town just south of the Mackinac Bridge. I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So if you want to get out your map and see where I'm at, I'm in the northernmost part of Michigan. You're looking at Canada. Canada's 50 miles away, and I go picking over there too. Yeah. Awesome. So I got this. Cool. It was a 1940s Beechcraft airplane manual. I got that. It was in a box of stuff. So if somebody had passed away and they threw it all out the road, well, I was trying to save money on gas, so I took my Honda Accord versus my Explorer, which was not very smart. I shoved everything I could from that place in there. There was all kinds of really amazing stuff that they'd thrown out. Well, I listed those this winter, the airplane manuals. A guy bought it for $90. I got it for free. I had it listed for more. I took the offer because I got it for free. I sent him a message because I had 2 other airplane manuals. Well, the guy collects them. Yay, he's going to buy the other ones. He didn't want them. He sent me a message back, said, thank you for the offer, but I bought this because I own this airplane. And then he said, I also know the plane that this manual goes to. And he said there were only 700 made, 200 of them are still around, and they fly. The rest don't fly. I mean, like 100 fly or something. And he knew where and it was in Dearborn, Michigan. I was in Detroit area, and he knew where the plane was that this manual went to. And he wanted it because the copies that are on the internet aren't as detailed. I couldn't believe it. It just blew me away. And I've had a couple experiences like that where people had bought some unusual things from me, and there was a story behind it. And, I think everything you pick up has a story about it. I went to a garage sale. I actually sold this. Everybody, the cash to trash guys make fun of Bonanza. I actually sold something on there. I've sold a couple things on there. I have no idea. I don't go on there. If I sell something, I'm like surprised. I had this black statue. Was about, I don't know. It was a pretty big statue. I got it at a garage sale. It was two naked people kissing. It looked vintage from the 80s. I asked the lady about it, and she said, "Oh, my mom bought that for her sister." I'm like, "They bought that for your aunt?" Okay. I got it for $2. I sold it for $50 on Bonanza. I don't understand that platform. Most of my stuff on there is flagged, and they don't like it. Said it violates their policies. I only go in there once in a while when I have a listing that sells. So the YouTube thing came out of saying I can do it just as good as those guys. And had no idea what to do. My son said, "Here's the GoPro we own." And I went out and just started videotaping. That's why my first video, I have a 35 millimeter camera duct taped to my chest to say, what does this guy know what he's doing? And my wife took a photograph, and that was my first thumbnail. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I was terrified. I went out there to a garage sale with that thing on, thinking they were going to kick me out. And now I'm not afraid. If they kick me out, good. That's fine. You're okay. I'll go to the next one. A lot of people think it's cool. You're out there recording garage sales. That's cool. And I've never had anybody say, "Oh, we hate people who sell stuff." Actually, they think it's pretty cool because these people who are at these sales don't do that. I have said to people, "Hey, you sure you want to sell this?" I mean, like the lady sold me some sterling silver rings, and I'm like, "No, I just want them gone." Okay. All right. I'll take your sterling silver rings for $2.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll do it. You got any gold in there for $5? I'll come and take that too.
Hey, I want to apologize for the background noise. My air conditioner's on, and this new mic that I got is picking up everything. So I'm having to mute when I'm not talking.
So you got turned the air conditioning on last night. It was in the 30s here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's like 100 degrees here, man. I mean, it's hot.
Not hot here at all.
And humid.
I was wearing a sweatshirt today, part of the day. So yeah, it's different temperatures here. But we have two Great Lakes not too far away, so that kind of regulates the temperature, keeps it kind of mild here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, what you said is true. I think most people, when they find out what you do, they think that's, think it's kind of cool. I think here's one of the things I think the resellers who watch YouTube thinks that just everybody knows about resellers and knows about resellers on YouTube. They just don't, I mean, there's just not that many people watching reselling on YouTube.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
Well, they used to watch it on TV. They watched Storage Wars and they watched American Pickers.
Yeah.
And that's their envision of it. And they think of it more as entertainment.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. But there's when you look at statistics, if you look at the information that comes out from doing videos, most of them are a higher age group that are watching my videos. That's what's out there. And I guess that's from the era of American Pickers and Storage Wars, or the Antiques Roadshow. I grew up watching that, I always said, well, stuff I find at garage sales got to be valuable like that because I end up going to some really old places and finding things, and I prefer, to sell some vintage stuff, older stuff, some of the thrift stores I go to, the religious books are free.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't sell them. And in one of them, I found this little book about that big. It was called The Key of Life prayer book. I mean, lucky if it had like 10 words on a page. It was tiny. It was very rough. It was from the late 19th century. It was like 1800s. I eventually sold that on Poshmark for like $60. And that's the thing that, you hear a lot of people, oh, I don't sell on Poshmark. They only sell clothes. You know what I just sold about a month ago? I sold a recoil to a pull-in weed whip.
Oh, wow.
On Poshmark.
Yeah.
I sold a World War II German bayonet on Poshmark.
That's
so
awesome.
If you don't think you can list anything on Poshmark, you better just do it. I'm the only one that's got chainsaw parts on Poshmark. I'm the only one with auto parts on Poshmark.
That's amazing.
And people look at them.
That's
I've had
something I had
offers on
thought
some
about was automobile parts. I hadn't thought about automobile parts.
Home Other.
Parts.
Use Home Other. Use Home Other. Don't put in kitchenwares. Put in Home Other, and people buy it.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I think I sold. No, I think I sold that on eBay. I had a 1970s Pringles can. I got it at an auction, and that took a year to sell. But I wasn't going to lower the price. I had the only one. Why would I do that?
Yeah. So since we're talking about sales, real quick, I want to get into our topic a little bit.
Sure.
I got to straighten out my shirt. My wife's done getting on to me in the chat, telling me it's crooked and everything else. I mean, I can't help it. Fat boy can't wear a shirt straight. So, but so my topic says, are we as resellers, all of us on the panel and other resellers that are watching this right now or later on, are we hurting ourselves with the market value of how we price ourselves? Are we hurting ourselves with the market values of items by dropping the item too low? So I bring this up and let me try and explain what I'm trying to say here, because I'm sure I did not say that the way it's supposed to be said. This week I did I was looking at some sold comps on some items. I had an item that I sold 2 months ago. When I bought the item, the market value for that item was between $55 and $60. This past week, somebody sent me an offer on the item. I had it listed at $55. I put it in the middle, and somebody sent me an offer of $40 on it. And that was kind of strange. It kind of bothered me because it was an item that has a pretty good sell-through rate. It's not a one-off, but it's a unique item. It has a good sell-through rate. And so I was just kind of curious of why someone would send me. Now I understand that's not a low ball offer, but that was kind of low compared to what I've been seeing other sold comps for 2 months ago. When I went and checked the sold comps, the price of the item had dropped to where actually that $40 price tag that the guy offered me was close to the highest selling at the time. So I went ahead and accepted it, and it got me thinking and got me researching some other items that have sold here recently compared to what they were selling for, say 2 or 3 months ago. And I noticed a significant increase in price. And when I say significant, I'm talking $20, $30 in price decrease.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking at items in the listing parts, I'm starting to see where we as resellers, because now I don't know what's causing this, if it's because people want to have that quick cash or if they just need money fast. But I'm starting to see where this person's undercutting this person. This person's undercutting this person. Then this next person's going to cut. So we keep doing that instead of trying to meet in the middle and be competitive. Now, listen, when we say competitive, I hear people talk about be competitive with your listings. We're not just talking about prices. We're also talking about be competitive with your pictures. Be competitive with your titles. Be competitive with your descriptions and all those other little small things that are in that listing, not just the price. You can have an item priced high, but have better pictures, better title, and better description and sell the item quicker than that person that has it that way down here on the low. So what I'm saying is, I don't think, now I know that if we have an item Now, hear me out. Now, if we have an item that's a year, 2 years old, and we're trying to move it out fast, get rid of it, put it on a 50% sale or whatever, 75% sale, I understand that. You put the item on sale. But when you're listing the item $40 lower than what the market value of the item is, you're dropping the market value of your item that you have. And you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting the whole community. And I just wanted to talk about that and get everybody's opinion on that. What that's where I stand with it. I just feel like we can all be competitive and meet in the middle with a fair price or a fair pricing without constantly undercutting everyone else when we list it first. I understand about sales when you drop the prices for sales. I completely understand that. But if you have an item that has a 100% sell through rate, there's 6 listed and 15 sold. There's no reason to drop the item $20. List
No.
it high. I mean, it's going to sell. So I just wanted to get everybody's opinion on that. Let's start with a panel. If anybody wants to chime in on the chat, please do. And if people are watching this later, please put your comment below in the comments, and we'll take a look at that. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, first, apologies. I got a important phone call and I had to check out. But when I got back in, it sounded like you're kind of what you're talking about. You're just describing what a lot of has been called the race to the bottom in pricing. And I think, honestly, I think that's more prevalent on like Amazon than it is on, for example, like eBay, because so many people are trying to sell like the same item or a new item, and so like it literally is, if you want to sell yours on Amazon, you do have to go a penny cheaper. And so like if you've ever played the Amazon game, it's like it's literally like, for the most part, people don't fool with it, but there always be that one seller who's like, he's lowering it by a penny so he can get in the buy box before you, and then you're lowering it by a penny to get into the buy box before him. And so in that way, it is a race to the bottom. Everybody's trying to undercut everybody else to get the sale. And you know that it does exist on eBay, but you know, for example, I think the items we're selling, yeah, there's a little bit of competition for them, but it's not the same as it is on Amazon. And I think a lot of times, you know, if I think that's where looking at a sales history over like a year period, as opposed to like what sold in the last, 2 months or 3 months, can give you a better idea of where you need to price an item. And then sometimes you have to do that, and you have to, you just have to be willing to accept that, some people are probably going to sell it if you want to get top dollar for it. Some people are going to sell their item before yours, and when they're gone, it'll be your listing. Now, if people are coming in the meantime and seeing those other listings and not doing their research, can lower the cost of the item. But I also think Amazon is different from eBay in that, and we've talked about this before. I think like when you sell particular items, so like for us with the Playmobil, I feel like there are people who could come into, the market that we have in Playmobil, and they can start listing it. And even though they have theirs listed cheaper than ours, because of the way eBay's algorithm works, for whatever reason, we're going to get the sale before them, even though ours might be a little bit higher, And so I don't know. I think it's one of those things that there's definitely something there, because, you don't want to get it. No seller wants to get in a race to the bottom. Let's see who can make the least money on this item. But but then again, at the same time, eBay is a different game than like Amazon. On Amazon, it really is that. You can look at things you were selling for, $50 a year ago, and it might be a $12 item now. And so, yeah, everybody's just, fighting to get the sale, to get into the buy box, and eBay's a little different. That's just my opinion.
So real quick, Brad, do you think it's better to look at the sale, like you were saying, over a year's time instead of a 90-day time?
I do. And then there's also other things you gotta take into account too. It's like, a lot of items are seasonal items. If you're trying to, some things sell all year long, but they might not sell for the same price all year long. As you start getting closer to the fourth quarter, prices are going to start, raising. If you've got stuff that's conducive to like, graduation gifts or something like that, that's going to ramp up in April and May, and then it's going to fall back off. And so, You know, that's just the game. I do like Silverhair's comment. It's hard for me to lower the market on my stuff because a large percentage of my stuff is one off or very few comps. And I think, you know, that's the kind of thing like even Darcy was talking about, you know, with the stuff that he sells. It doesn't sound like he's fighting a huge market with his sales, you know. I think people who sell unique items are probably better off than the rest of us yahoos, you know.
Well, I do have some things that aren't like, you know, I have a box of VHS and there was a sealed the Ronco rotisserie. I got it behind me here somewhere. The VHS, they sell. I got it for free. If I make $3 on it, I'm gonna have a happy dance. You know, I think I've kind of looked at, you know, the sold comp thing and looking at where the prices are. It varies on different platforms. And I've kind of split my, you know, eBay's the bread and butter, and I put it in other places. But I've kind of learned, you know, how some of the other platforms where the item might be better, do better there, or it always surprises me. I tell you that. But I think when you look at, so there's like for instance, this last week I listed. It was an O'Neill, like a woman's. It's a small. It's a wetsuit. And it's got like half legs or whatever. Like it just goes up to your knee or whatever. The 90-day comps on there, well, that's in the middle of winter. I mean, I guess in Florida they're buying them, but where I live in the Midwest, they're going to pay a little more as it comes into summer. So, you know, like if you go, let's say it's September and you want to start listing flannel shirts, the 90-day comps are going to be low because who's buying it in August? So you got to look at that. The other thing that I also look at is I'll look at something and I'll look at their listing and I'll go, they didn't clean it. It's still dirty. Mine's clean. They didn't put a video on it. They put 2 pictures because they're in a hurry to pump it out and get as much out as possible. I'll do a video and I'll clean, mine will be clean and I'll sell it for more than they sold theirs. I've done it. The other thing that I do once in a while is, I don't do it as much, but if it's something unique, I'll do a video for a static item. So I'll like pick something that you don't need to show it works. You don't need to show it operates, and I'll describe it. And those things they sell. It sells. So it's kind of like kind of adding in that live auction thing that they do on Whatnot, you know, but doing it on eBay, and trying to get something to differentiate you from the other person's listing and yours. And there's a whole thing. I was on a group and they were talking about, they called me an over picturer. What does that mean? It doesn't take that long to put pictures in there. And yes, sometimes I max it out. I'm like, I don't have enough, you know, that's why I don't like, you know, on Poshmark and Mercari, 10 photos. Ugh, not enough. 12. Yeah, not enough. And you know what? If you you can put more than 10 on Facebook Marketplace if you do your edits on your phone. So you upload them using you know, a cross listing program, and just don't do any editing with your computer. Just use your phone, and they'll leave the 20 pictures in there because I know they do that. I've seen it. So you can get around their pictures there. But I don't know here's the thing I fear about, you know, if you're trying to differentiate yourself and get a sale where maybe you're in a competitive listing area, you know, like for example, I started picking up clothes because I knew people bought clothes and I was going buy them and they were cheap. You know, around here I can get them very reasonable. And I don't, you know, when you talk about making mistakes, I make mistakes on clothes. I don't understand them. I had you know, my sister gave me some clothes that she didn't wear anymore, and I didn't even know how to describe them. And I was like, what the heck's this? It's not even, you have like 4, my wife would measure them and they'd be like a measurement for the top and then a measurement for the bottom. I'm like, what do I put this in here? It doesn't fit our formula. But you know, those kind of competitive things, you are maybe going to, you know, you bought a bad shirt and you just got to say goodbye to it. It's just got to go. And so you're going to sell it for whatever you can get it for on any platform. But I think on eBay, sometimes looking at those comps and saying, why did they sell for that? Why did that item sell for that? Because if you just take a couple minutes to look at a couple of them, you're going to see there was a few things that they did that you were going to do better. You know, you're going to have a clean item. I will clean things. Now I am consigning pieces to the GI Joe aircraft carrier for a friend of mine.
That's
And
awesome.
he told me about them at deer hunting. I got them deer camp, and I got them this spring. They weren't as what I thought they'd be. They were under a mower, and mice had lived there for a while. They had been there a very long time. I tried to clean them because I didn't want the decals to come off. I said, the other day, I just said, forget it. I'm going to go list them. And I already have one that's sold, that's going to sell. It's on a bid. And the rest of them, but they're rare. You know, somebody's going to buy it. It's not like there are tons of them. There are not a lot of these pieces available. And so it's okay to do that. For the most part, I try to, be in the comp area. You know, when they say, if you go list and they give you a comp, they'll say, this is what it's sold in 90 days. If it's something that's more common, like a clock radio, you're forced to do that. No matter if you put a video or not.
Yeah. 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 You know, there's another thing. I still think there's something to, some stores just have a better sales velocity than other stores because for whatever reason, they're doing something right. They're shipping on time. They're not getting a lot of returns. They're not getting, for whatever reason. And I feel like, I pick up items sometimes that when I'm, I don't even, there's a lot of items at this point I don't look up. And I know that I can sell this every time for $34.99 or $35, right? And if I go to look at the comps, it's like they might be like, 29, 27, 26, 25, and an occasional 35. And then we still list it where we know it'll sell, and you know what? It sells, and it usually sells pretty quickly. So
sure.
Yep.
So I want to tell everyone real quick, we're not laughing at what Darcy was saying here. We got some funny stuff in the chat going on over here, so that's what we was laughing at too. But I really want to talk about the picture thing. We was talking about there's not enough space in other sites to take pictures. You got eBay's got 24. Chris Cernock's Connection always says on Reselling Information Network, he always says that if there's 24 spots, fill them up. Don't leave them blank. He just feels like you got to take 24 pictures, and then I get that. It's I don't know. It's just strange how I saw that, and I wanted to talk about that and see what people's thoughts were on other people or other sellers or even ourselves dropping the price. Like I said, I don't. It doesn't bother me. I understand when we go have sales, of course, that's going to drop it below what the market value is and would probably be under what the lowest bidder is. But when you just listings, when you're automatically listing it that low, I think that's hurting us in the long run. But real quick, when he's talking about sales, I got an announcement to make. And if this is in the link is in the description. I had my first sale on my own marketplace on District on Hatify. I sold a hat this morning, or actually went out this morning. Sold it yesterday. So we had our first sale on my own marketplace this week. So
nice.
Guys, if you guys are not part of District, you want to join the marketplace Hatify, the link is below. If you sign up with District for the first time, you'll get a $5 credit, and you can use that $5 in any marketplace on District. There's a lot of really great marketplaces there. We're just getting ours started. I only got like 50 listings, and they're all hats. My intention is I have nothing but hats in this marketplace. I want some people that's selling cowboy hats, sun hats, top hats. I want some people like that to come in and join Hatify so that they can put those listings in there and sell, so we can just have a hat community over there. That's the goal on that. What you think, Brad? How you doing on your end?
Oh, no, I hadn't even really launched mine yet. I've actually started sending out this week with sales invitation to the platform. So, but that's good to hear. I'm glad you had a successful first week. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on you, Brad, to list your hat.
Yeah. As soon as I go on a hat listing spree, I'll do it, bro. I got about 2 totes, and when I say totes, I'm talking about the big black, I don't know how many gallons those are, 30-gallon totes. I got a couple of those totes full of hats They're ready to be listed. So I'm going to be doing that soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about SpongeBob. Silverhair
All
wants
right.
to know.
Yeah. So I wanted before I say this, I wanted to mention something. So we've ordered a couple of things off of eBay in the last several weeks. We've gotten where we've started to. Brad could host an all dolphin shop. Yes, but I don't want to sell it. Grams and pops. Or keep it. But no, what I was going to say was we've gotten where we've started actually sourcing some of the stuff we buy from eBay. Just paying attention and dropping, buying an auction and getting lucky. Nobody else bids on it. Blah blah blah. And like we've had several, like in the last 2 times we've done it, the like person that we've purchased them from, like the first one did the label the very next day, right? And then like 6 days later finally dropped it off at the FedEx place or whatever. And then we've got another one right now that we bought several days ago, one auction on several days ago, and still waiting on it to they haven't even uploaded shipping yet, or tracking or whatever.
What marketplace was that again?
On eBay. And so what I was going to say is, if you guys want to help your store, because I think this absolutely 100% makes a huge difference in sales velocity and everything else. If eBay knows you're taking care of your customers and you're hitting those metrics they want you to hit, like uploading, tracking on time and getting items shipped out, getting it validated, getting shipped, you're gonna do well. And I wanted to compliment a member of this fine community, our very own silver hair stacker. I believe his name is Todd. I wanted to compliment him. I bought one of those SpongeBob night lights he was talking about in the chat last week, and that sucker shipped immediately, and I've got it. And
wow.
I'm gonna hook it up in my son's room, try to surprise him with SpongeBob shining on the ceiling. So thank you, silver hair. And you are a gentleman and a scholar, and I salute you for your quick shipping, sir.
You know what I've done? I've changed all when I do my listings now, when I take everything out of drafts and put them into the listings category, I change everything to a 1-day handling time. And something else I started doing, I don't know if people do this or not, and I've heard of people talk about coupons, but I send out a 20% off coupon to anyone that leaves me positive feedback, and just thank them for the positive feedback and for the support. I do that to every seller that leaves me a positive feedback. So I think that helps too, because I got return sellers coming back too for that. So I think that's.
Well, I just did that last week. I did a coupon for the first time, and it allowed you to send it to people who had purchased from you before. And so I sent out to all those people, and I have no idea if they bought anything. But and then I put everything on sale because I was going to try to double up, get them to buy something on sale and then use the coupon. I had another idea that I was thinking about doing is you can do a general coupon, but I was going to only distribute that to people who were on my Facebook page. I was going to put it out there, just give them the benefit versus the general whoever wants to buy from the store. Something to get people to buy stuff and to get them interested in it. The one thing that I would say, and the both of you probably agree with this, the frustrating thing is that, for the most part, eBay can't be like a Ronco rotisserie. You set it and forget it, because eventually your chicken is going to be burnt and there'll be nothing left. It'll be all gone. What you got to do is you got to go in there and you got to pay attention to it. And the delisting and relisting, it's not that hard, but it's frustrating that you got to relist something, especially when you know that people are buying it, and you go back and look and you see people have sold stuff, and yours is cheaper and maybe in better condition. Why didn't they come to you? And maybe your shipping's better. I don't know what I don't do a lot of promoted. I have some promoted things in there. I think that's another way to suck money out of people trying to sell stuff. And most of us are small business owners, and we don't need any more people picking away at our vegetables in the garden, stealing them. You know, we gotta, you know, we gotta eat too. And so I don't do that. So if it relisting and delisting is what you got to do, I'm going to do it. But that's why I also went to cross listing, because I said, I got to get more eyes on it. You know, you talked about district there, Chris. I did sign up for the trash guys or whatever they call theirs. I've done zero with it. Didbit. Yeah, I did theirs. Just to the thing, your hat thing, I got a bin of hats. And I can tell you that I've probably moved it 15 times because it's in my way. So
come on over, man. List them on there.
I need a new place to put hats. And hats, you know, I'll say one thing about hats. Some hats are just take a very long time to sell. Now, this one I'm wearing here is called a Stormy Chromer. And if I pick those up at auctions or garage sales or thrift stores, they sell fast because they're made in the USA. They're made right here in the Upper Peninsula in Ironwood. I have no problem selling those. I also get some unique ones because, I have one that's a hunting camo, orange camo. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it because it's for some a sporting goods store in the middle of the UP of Michigan, and it's kind of cool. And I thought about keeping that one, but I know it would sell. And I get some of those kind of things, but I don't pay very much. I don't know how much you and Brad pay for, Chris, you and Brad pay for hats. I get them for they're in free boxes. They're 50 cents, $1. I went to a thrift store. I don't pay very much. But I did get one at a garage sale. I only paid a couple bucks for. It was a vintage Filson hat. And I got a premium for that on Poshmark versus even with the 20%, I made more than I did on eBay. So I thought that was a good place to put that. And Filson's a good brand to pick up. Everybody knows what Filson is. They're great hats. But some people, hats can be picky. I've watched all the people who clean hats. That's a lot of work.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to pick those ones up.
I used to didn't care, and I used to didn't care whether the hat was dirty or not, because when we lived over in Georgia, I had a bin that I would just take and put hot water in and put that powdered OxyClean in it. And I would soak the hats 24 hours, take them out, and scrub them if they need to be scrubbed, and then put a bag inside the hat part of it to form it and let it sit for another 24 hours to dry out. In 2 days, I had almost brand new hat. Well, a lot of them look brand new compared to where they was at before, But that's what I used. I used OxyClean, the powdered OxyClean. So, but you're right. Hats are unique item. People's got to be looking for a certain hat. Like Brad's stalking a hat right now. That somebody's got. But I want to touch something real quick. 540 Flips here mentions something. Brandon, sorry. He says, I hear so many people against promoted, but to me, promoted is just like another business. They advertise and pay for advertising. The fees are tax deductions. So if it helps sales, why not? I agree with that. And here's why I say that. As resellers, we should be, with the exception of certain items. When I say certain items, I'm talking about items that will sell in a day's time, a 24-hour period, without any kind of promotion or anything. But we should be buying items at a very, very low cost that has a high ASP, that where the whatever promotion is plus the eBay fees is not going to hurt you. You're still going to make a profit off of it. Me, I do dynamic promotions on my listings. I stagger those listings. When I list them, I let them sit for a certain amount of time before I promote them to see what kind of eyes I can get on my items without promoting. Some of them I get really good watchers. Some of them I get really good views and watchers. And some of them I even sell in before that time is when I need to promote it. And then there's those others that I don't even get a view on, so that could be one of those things that, it's a bad buy as far as the sell-through rate goes. I do buy a lot of items. Unfortunately, I have a bad habit of buying long tail items that sit for a long time. We are trying to work on that. Brad, you're having fun over there. You're just like grinning ear to ear. What's going on? Am I missing something?
I was just listening to you saying first you were talking about your ASP, and I don't know why we have to talk about that on here. And then secondly, you said you have a knack for picking up items that sit around for a long time. But no,
Yeah.
there's for a lot of that, I agree with 540. There is a cost to doing business. Now, one of the things that I do that's a little different than a lot of people is I do the promoted, and I do the dynamic ad rate, and I have a cap set on it so it won't, that it'll, if it fluctuates, it'll hit, if it hits that cap, it stops there. But one of the things that we do along with that is I don't ever run sales, I don't ever run promotions, I don't ever do coupons other than the one that I have set up to send out with every single purchase. And so for us, we're as close as, and part of that, hear me on that, is like I think that's a good strategy for a lot of people. For me in particular, because of just not having a lot of time on, to really invest like just every minute of my day into the business. For me, that works. We're as close to set it and forget it, as that you can get. And then with that said, after about 6 to 9 months, items, there's just a segment of your store that's items that's just not getting any traction, and I will delist and relist those and start that process over again. But yeah, so that's kind of my thought on that. So
Hey, sorry, I had to. My 7-year-old was going outside. I had to tell him to be quiet.
Hey, shut up, kid.
So
Yeah. Well, I want to mention. Can I? Sue here, AZ Cats. She asked about the sending the wrong item to a person. I've done that before on Poshmark, I sent that item to a person. I think I got lucky because I messaged her, and she had bought something before from me. I sent her the wrong it was supposed to be a shirt. She got pants. She sent me a message. I said, "Hey, how about you send it to the right person?" So I sent her the label. She sent it to the right person, and I sent her the right item. And they gave me great reviews.
Yeah.
So it worked out. How long should you wait? If they're ghosting you, it's done.
Yeah.
They're not going to respond to you. They're mad. They're not happy, and they just don't take it in stride. People make mistakes, and if you're doing this, you're listing the item, you're getting the item, you're doing all the stuff, your customer service. We don't have a customer service center where somebody picks up the phone. We are it. We're shipping department. I tell my wife she's the finance department. She goes, I don't want to be the finance department to quote unquote, but she does it, helps me out. But so you can't wait forever, and hopefully, one thing that if they don't respond in a certain time, I guess on Poshmark, they release the money,
Yeah.
Actually, I'll say that one thing that does help me with, Chris was talking about 1-day handling. I do 3-day handling, but sometimes I'm faster than that because if I have Poshmark sales and Mercari sales, if I don't send it to them, the money doesn't come instantaneously. I got to wait. So I want to get it out as fast as possible, and get my revenue from my item.
Yeah.
I sent out a wrong item one time. Actually, it wasn't me that sent it out. My wife sent it out. But in her defense,
Sure, Chris.
I had to.
Sure.
No, really, and I was going. But in her defense, I had 2 short vacuum adjustments. They were the couch things that you put on the vacuum a couch. I had 2 of them, and they were small, but they were 2 different types. They looked different. One was just a little bit bigger than the other one. You would just have to know. So she just reached in and grabbed the first one she saw. She probably didn't know there was 2 in the box, and I get that, no big deal. But I sent the wrong one to the customer, and this was on eBay, and I got a message, and I was like, what? And I got to looking in the box, and sure enough, the one she ordered was still in the box, and she got the other one. And so she opened the return. I accepted the return. But she was talking about wanting a refund, and I says, well, when you send the item back, I'll give you the refund, or actually I can just send you the item. And she says, no, I want my money back. And I says, well, I'll accept your return, but you have to send me the item. I never got the item. So guess what? She never got the correct thing she ordered or her money back. But
Yeah.
I mean, because I learned a long time ago when I first started, I learned do not refund anything until you get your item back.
That's
The
right.
only time I will refund them is if it's something that can be broken, like a glass or whatever, and they send me a picture of that thing broken, then I will refund them. But if they don't send me a picture, you're sending me a broken glass back until I see it. I ain't giving you nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
I
and
mean,
I,
that's just the
hey,
way I am.
yeah, and don't feel too bad, Ping G. And when I say that, I'm like a on the Enneagram, I'm a one, which there's a lot of names for that, but short term for it is I'm a perfectionist, right? I'm like I really pay attention to details. I do my best to get everything right in everything I do. And here's the irony of it. So I do bulk shipping, on my labels. When I print out my labels, I do, if I've got 10 orders, I do those 10 labels all at once. The only time I've ever screwed up sending the wrong item to a person was when I had two items to send, and one of them was UPS and one of them was something else, and I knew which box the UPS one went on, and somehow I put it on the wrong one. I didn't even look at the name on the second box. I just stuck the other label on it. I had two chances to get it right, and I still got it wrong. And that just that eats me up alive whenever I do something like that. And I'll dwell on it for a
So,
while.
Brad, you better not go to the casino
so
and
when
play
you do your
blackjack.
bulk
Oh,
label,
no, I'm not a gambler.
right?
Not in that way, anyway.
So, so Brad, when you do your labels in bulk, how do you know which package goes to? How do you know which one to put the label on?
Yeah, so I'll grab the item, I'll box it up, go ahead and tape it up and everything, weigh it, write the weight on the box, and then I'll put their name on the box. So like
Oh,
if I'm
Okay,
sending
okay.
something like to Larry Jones, I'll put Larry Jones on there. I know some people do like just the initials like LG, but for me it's like it's not going to take me that much longer just to scribble that name on there. And then after I've got all of them packed, I'll just set the laptop beside the pile of boxes, and I'll go through in the bulk shipping thing, and I'll put in the size of the box, put in the weight, set it to the side, and just print them all at once. It's just a way, like, you can get in a flow packing and not have to stop and print the label and put the label on and do the thing. It's just I kind of like batching things. So if I can take, like if I can take pictures whenever I'm doing the pictures and doing listings, if I can take pictures of like 5 things at a time, I'll do that, or whatever. I like batching things. I think it's a little more efficient, but that's just me.
do you use
All right.
do you use the
So,
same
all right.
boxes, Brad? Brad, do you use the same boxes? Similar
Uh,
boxes?
well, yeah, we use a lot of because of the stuff we sell. Like this morning, I think I packaged up 8 at the start of the day, and like I think like 4 of them were the like 975s, or that what we call 864 boxes, and then like I had like 4 or 5 of the 6x4x4. So I have like a lot of similar. Yeah, I do have a lot of similar boxes most days.
What the only
Yeah.
way I have similar is if the Dollar Tree threw out similar boxes, and I picked up all similar ones. Like the Russell Stover are great for hats, and I use them for hats. I have bought, since I've had an eBay store, I've bought boxes from eBay, which I like a couple of the sizes, but most of them I get for free. I do one label at a time, because sometimes let's say you got a piece of glass, and the glass is going to California, and they chose UPS. Man, I want that thing like a mummy. You ain't gonna get into it, because I want it to be protected.
Mhm.
If it's a shirt, I have poly bags. I probably bought enough to last the rest of my life, and use those for the shirts and for clothing and whatnot. I'm a little leery of some things going into bags. Maybe it's just me. Like when I do books, I sell a lot of Bibles. And I might put those in a padded envelope, and then put, because some of them are old, they're like 100-year-old Bibles, and I might put cardboard around them to make it rigid so they don't get damaged if they get thrown. I had heard from somebody on a forum or whatever, they said that they used to work for FedEx, and they said if it said fragile, they had another guy on the other end of the warehouse say, "Go long," and they're gonna see how far I can throw it.
Yeah.
So when I like I did not too long ago, last week I did I got this, I think it was Pyrex mug that was from a radio station in Alaska. I'm like, cool. And so I double boxed that thing. And usually when I double box them and then I put bubble wrap on them, I can drop them on the floor and they won't break. Now, I guess if you tried to drop it from the top of the FedEx warehouse, it probably will break. But I get, I'm concerned that it's going to break. It's going to break because I think this person was kind of a distance away. And so I print them out. That's how I ended up sending, like you had 2 packages. I switched to labels. And I got lucky that the people were understanding. And then I said, I got to change this whole thing up. I got to do labels. I do them one at a time because sometimes they change the shipping a little bit. And the box is different because of, when I measure it, I do make room for the box. But sometimes I go out in the garage and I say, that box will work. And I pick it up and it works. Now I send my wife out and I'm like, why are you out there for 15 minutes? Well, I'm trying to find a box. I was like, I go out there in 2 seconds. That box will work. And sometimes when I buy stuff, I'm like, yeah, I got a box for that. And then I'm okay with it. I'll tell you the hardest thing I ever shipped. A couple of years ago, I helped out with the e-waste here in town when I worked for the city here, the e-waste cleanup. And I was picking stuff. They didn't care. And I put some Macs in my, the Big Macs in my vehicle. Everything I had an Apple on, I took. If you don't have an Apple box, that box is huge because you got to fill the void with whatever. And I had huge pieces of foam in there. I ran out of that. Egg cartons were foam. So I stuck those in there to fill the void. And it was going to Vegas. I think that one went to Vegas. And there was no reason it had to be that big, except that it was Apple and it was hard to ship. I got it for free. I made $40, $50 on it. So I can't complain. And it was broke. It was locked. So yeah, shipping, I'm not afraid to ship big stuff.
That's good. I love shipping big stuff.
You like shipping big stuff?
Brad? Yeah, man. I like my electronics and stuff. I love it, man, because I get so scared. I can't wait till the item gets to them to see if it's broke.
The last big thing I think I shipped, I think I did a CRT TV. I shipped a CRT TV. Most of the time, those small CRT TVs, which are gamers want, they're giving them away. My wife and I were on our 25th anniversary in Wisconsin. We went to a church sale. And it said free on it. When I walked up there, they were about to give me a hug that I took the dumb thing. And it had the remote. So I was like, this is a good deal. And it had RCA jacks on it. So I'm like, gamer's going to buy this. And the last one I sold was it was a dual power. So you could use it AC or DC. And I got almost $100 for that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Again, you got to, wrapping it up is not fun. I mean, I was like, I had to go take a break after that. I was like wrestling a cat or something. It was hard work, and so like sometimes, I don't know if you guys do this. Sometimes I give when the eBay changed that shipping thing, I've always if the shipping is ridiculous, I give some back to the person. Like, I'll give them a refund. Because if it's $40 more than they paid, or $20 or whatever, if it's higher than they paid, ridiculous amount, I give them a refund. And I think that's just something I do. I think it's fair. And hopefully they see that and give me a good review or whatever.
Yeah.
So look at this sale right here. This is my biggest one for the week. I want to show you this one right here. So I don't know. Let's see if we can blow it up here. Let's see, full screen layout. So I sold this Pioneer 640 turntable. This direct drive, tested, it works. The only thing it says but read below, it just had some scratches on the cover. I sold that last week for $170 plus $25 shipping. That's what I worked out with the guy. It was $25 shipping. I I was so worried about this thing, absolutely worried, because it went to Washington. I'm on the
Ooh.
East Coast, and this sucker went all the way to the West Coast, and it actually shipped USPS. The label was only $25.23, if I recall correctly. But the thing got there, and look, I got positive feedback.
Nice.
It got there in one piece and it worked, and I was just like, "Holy cow!" I mean, I just got that today, that notification today. So I was just like, I've been sweating bullets since last Friday.
Did it have Chris? Did it have the needle? Did it have the needle, Chris?
Yes, it had.
Oh, that's a big part of it. That's a big deal. Yeah.
But I see that was one of the things I put in. Please read. I said I do not know if the needle is in good condition or not, because I didn't. I didn't have a record, so I turned it on, and that thing, you hit that little button, and it'll jump up and move over and come down, and then you hit it again, it'll come back, and all that. And it had the needle on it, and the turntable turned, and I didn't know, that was all I knew about it. And I put all that in the listing. And the guy, I had it listed for $200, and the guy sent me an offer. He says, "Hey, I'll pay $100." He sent me a message. He says, "Hey, I'll send you an offer for $170 if you do $25 shipping, flat $25 shipping." And I'm sitting there thinking, well, heck yeah, I ain't got a problem with that. I mean, I'll send the sucker UPS for like $19. No, I didn't. No, UPS Ground Advantage was cheap, and but I didn't realize he was in Washington. And then I get the thing, and sure enough, he was in Washington. I was like, "Oh my god!" But USPS Ground Advantage, man, they was and then I was worried. But that item there, so I bought that and 5 other pieces in that era, because that was like the 70s, I think, style there. I bought 5 other pieces with that for $40. And I've sold everything except 2 pieces. And so I got 2 pieces out of that left. And I've made a killing off those pieces. And I've actually sold 2 of them that I didn't even know if they worked or not. Had no way. They didn't have a power cord for them, had no way to test them or anything. And I put it there for parts. Because that's why I love electronics with stuff, because I sell a lot of stuff for parts or repair. And it sells, so that's what happened with that. That was my biggest sale of the week too. So Brad, what was your biggest sale of the week?
That platinum record that I had last week. I'll throw it up for you if you want me to. But that
you talked about that last week though. Oh no, you showed us that last week.
I showed I'd picked it up, and then I actually listed it, and about 5 minutes after I listed it, guy took an offer. There it is. It's up.
Oh,
yeah, right there. Here, I'll click into it here.
225?
Yeah, I sold it for $225. I listed it at $299, which, I just kind of put it up high, and I got an offer of $225 in about 5 minutes. And some people say, well, you should have held out. But, I'd already set my mind, if I got $225 to $250 for it, I was going to be happy, because I think that's about where the market was. And
what'd you get for it?
$9. Yep, and it was you just don't see platinum records, and that's one of the actually official Recording Industry Association of America platinum records they give out to people in the band or management, stuff like that.
You just got a new offer. You just got a new offer on something.
Did I? I got this game I play with my wife. I try to beat her to the offers. Let's see if I can beat her. She's probably.
I'm gonna take this down.
She's probably good on that one. Oh, my phone's dying.
Darcy, what's your biggest sale of the week?
She sold
it. I don't know. How far you want me to go back last week? I got a couple.
As far as you want to.
We'll go all the way back.
Let me see if I can share this thing and it'll work.
All right. Give
me a second.
Brad's off of here.
Oh, by the way, Chris.
Share screen. There we go.
Leroy told me to tell you that he's always watching you. He wanted me to let you know he's always watching. and he
I
might
call,
log in. He might log in under a different account. But he's watching you.
oh no. I actually called him this week, check on him, see how he's doing. Let's see who we got
Hey,
here.
there it
Which
is.
one is it? Which one is it?
So it's this right here. It's this it's actually a seafood logo on this DeLong jacket. I bought it for two reasons. One, it was cool. The logo was pretty neat. And it had like a fisherman on it. And then it was a vintage jacket. And it was I thought it was a good size. Large is usually a good size to pick up. Extra large is better. But that sold, 28, not too bad. I was pretty happy with that. And then I sold a cheese slicer for like in 24 hours. A Cutco. Couldn't believe it. Sold fast.
Right. Oh,
sold real fast.
Nice.
And I paid $1 for that. I paid $1.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that jacket, I probably paid a couple bucks for it. I didn't pay much for it. I had it for a while. So, I was happy to see it go. It's just if that thing would have fit me, I mean, I would have kept it. And my wife would have said, no more jackets. No more jackets. I got too many.
I have a rule. I have a rule now. When I go shopping, if I want it for myself, I don't look it up. I don't, right. Because if I look it up, I'm not keeping it. I got to do that because there for a while I kept buying things for myself, but when I get it home, I just got to thinking about it. I was like, I can make good bit money on this, and I go to list it. So now when I go to buy things for myself, I don't even bother looking up what it's going to sell for. I just forget about it and just keep it. So Brad, what's going to happen when they get that thing and that thing's made of plastic?
Oh, it's somebody else's piece of plastic now. I doubt they cast it. I doubt they cast it out of pure platinum. I'm sure it's just because they cast.
Yeah.
They cast those records in all kinds of colors. So I'm sure it's just plastic or whatever poly, whatever it's made out of. So
yeah. You sure it's not vinyl?
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, technically it probably is vinyl, some kind of polyvinyl, but yep. It's cool. It was cool though, and it belongs to a drummer in Atlanta now. So
you can't keep everything that's cool. So, that's my problem.
So Silverhair said that some crazy Dolphin fans bought a SpongeBob from him. That was his biggest sell of the week.
SpongeBob, not
cool. Cool. Hey, TC, how's it going? Yeah. There's TC. Hadn't seen him in a while. Good to see you. Corey from Grams and Pops. What's your biggest sell of the week? Let us know in the chat. And anybody else has got something.
They sold a tractor. Let us know. They sold a tractor with a discer behind it.
Did they?
They're just Grams and Pops are just Midwest rednecks. I figured that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably their biggest sell was sparkle butt jeans.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
wait a minute. Who was it? I was watching somebody was talking about that.
That's Grams and Pops. Shout out to Grams and Pops. So every so often they drop a specialty video. Like they had one on Barbies, and then they did one in the last day or two on sparkle butt jeans. And if you just want to learn, like for example, the Barbies, I largely ignore Barbies because most of them I ever look up are just not worth anything. But just the info they dropped in that video about a quick way to kind of suss out even if you should pay attention to them, that's invaluable. So check out Grams and Pops channel specifically. Watch all their stuff, like it and subscribe and do all that stuff. But specifically watch some of those specialty videos they do. It's got a lot of good info in there.
Yeah.
Well, I got Barbie stuff at a thrift store.
Yeah.
I got Barbie stuff at a thrift store, Brad. It was in a gallon bag. It said 50 cents. I listed the whole thing. I set them all up. Took the longest ever. I think I had them for $30. Then I cross-listed them. Then a lady on Mercari said, would you sell me the ski boots and the skis and the poles? I made $9 on those. I sold those for $9. Then I relisted them. Then somebody wanted only the hats. So I sold all the hats I sold all the shoes. And I pieced the thing out. I've got some left to sell, some of the animals and other stuff. And every time I've listed it, somebody wanted pieces of it. I've made so much money off the 50 cents. It's been great. I know nothing about Barbies. I mean, I guess if they're cheap, I'll buy them. But other than that, I just don't know anything about them.
Yeah. Let me show you guys something about Barbies here. So if you have not,
Chris, you're supposed to leave that. For your only. You're supposed to leave that for your OnlyFans show. Don't be pulling out them Barbies in the show. Go on.
Oh golly! All right, so see right here. So if you guys watch my video where I bought a Goodwill tote and paid, I think it was $9.99. It had a bunch of Barbie dolls and stuff in it. I sold a lot of 14 dolls, naked and clothed, right here. We sold it for $23. Sold a whole thing, all that there for $23, and it didn't last long. I wasn't going to list them individually because I know nothing about them. Now, this happened before I watched Grams and Pop's videos. So I do want to say this real quick about Grams and Pops. So Corey, we just promoted your channel big time. And we want you to promote Pickin and Grinnin.
Hey, Chris, I got a question.
I'm just messing with you, but
how come you didn't take the background out? Were you afraid that all the Barbie clothes would come off if you used the background remover? Then there would be no clothes on the Barbies?
Oh, right. Right. Well, look, at some of them are naked anyway.
Well, then they'd be invisible. They'd be invisible then.
Yeah. But yeah, Barbies they're just, I don't know. I mean, I understand. I watched their video and I get, what they're saying. And I've seen a lot of, and actually some of the ones that they were talking about was in that lot that I had. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if I'm going to buy a Barbie, I mean, do you recommend buying them for $1 or do you just make a whole deal? Because I've been to a thrift store where they got tubs of them. They'll tell you $1 a piece. And that just
depends on the Barbies.
Thinking,
I wouldn't do that.
Right, because you don't know what you're getting. Yeah. I mean, I'll buy the whole tub. I'll be like, all right, I'll give me a price on the whole tub, but not $1 a piece,
Yeah, I'm
Brandon still got his.
Yeah.
At our Goodwill here, the Barbies would be $5.99. And if they had clothes on them, they'd be $8.99.
No.
I think the only time we're really interested in Barbies, ever at all is like if we're at a sale and see like a whole bunch of them and you can get them all for one decent price, then that might be something we look into. But just as one-offs, unless you see something special, keep move along. And people think they're worth so much money because it's Barbies. It's like, no, not really.
Now I know there's some that are from the 50s, the first ones, the original ones, the 1950s. If you find those and they're in a box, and they want $1 for them, I think I'd pay $1 for those.
Yeah. There's exceptions to every rule. Yeah. As a rule of thumb, most Barbies, and let's put it that way, most modern Barbies for sure, just they're not worth the time.
They're mass produced.
Yeah. Barbies are not for everyone. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
TC sold one of those Muscle Men's new in the box figures. He showed me for $100, and he still has the other one. So what TC did, he found, I can't remember what he paid for both of them, but he found two of the old vintage. Remember the pink Muscle Men characters, the old ones that we had when we was kids. He found 2 boxes of them, that were still in the box, and I think there might have been 20 in each box or something like that. So that's what he's talking about there. He sold 1 box for $100. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, you keep showing up, and you're going to find one of those. Corey says Barbies are not for everyone. Chris sure does like them though. I personally hate them, but Grams is willing to do the legwork on them, so they're well worth it for us. Yeah. I think it's like anything else. It's like even with us with Playmobil, for most people, it just would not be worth the hassle to go through them and do what we do. But they sell really well for us. But and we've got so much of it and have such good sell through on it that it's worth it for us. But you got to find that thing. It's
I can't
all
sell Playmobil.
Yeah,
because it ends up staying here. Because I got a 7-year-old. My older kids, my oldest is 24, and my second oldest is 22, and they always had Playmobil. We always introduced it to them, and so I got stuff in the upstairs of the garage that is pretty valuable. If we hold on to it, he won't have to pay for college. We'll just let Alfred go. That'll pay for it. Now I do have I haven't called this person. Somebody I know. She every time I see her, she says something about this. She has this huge bins of Playmobil, some of the old, from probably the early 90s, maybe the late 80s. And she just wants to get rid of it. And I need to just call her, and it's mixed in with some Legos. So because they just threw it all in a bin. And I just got to call her and say, let's go make a deal on it, because I think that's something that I can make quite a bit of money off them, especially since they kept care of them. They weren't just thrown in a box; they were thrown in a plastic bin with a lid. So
well, if you buy them and want to make a quick dollar on them, talk to me. I might buy them from you quickly if you did something like that.
I need to go hide them so that the person in the other room doesn't see them. So he wants them, like Legos. I probably have enough Legos. I could build a new home. And they're not all in the house. Some, but we're not to sell. I bought a few. I bought some in Canada at Value Village. I bought some Legos, and I've listed a few of them. Most of them, I think some of them have been absconded by a 7-year-old, and they're in his lot somewhere. But they moved. So they used to put them out with bag toys over on a wall, and they've stopped doing that. They put them under the glass case now, and they bag them up, and you got to go through them. And if there's a lot of minifigures in there, then it's worth picking them up. If they're just bricks, because just regular bricks are worth nothing. But if they got a whole bunch of minifigures in there, they're pretty good. Now, you talk about Playmobil, Brad, and going into Canada and going to thrift stores, you can find Playmobil they didn't sell in the U.S. because they get it directly from Europe.
Right.
And so I found some unique things going to Canada that weren't in the United States and whatnot. When I come over the border, I just tell them I went shopping. They don't care. They don't care at all. They don't ask too many questions anyways. So you just tell them what you did. And usually what I do is I tell them what's shopping, and then they say, what do you want? I went to thrift stores. And then they say, have a good day. And that's it. And it's a lot of fun going over there. When I go to Canada to go thrifting, so I go up to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and across the St. Mary's River is Sault, Ontario, and that's 100,000 people. And they probably have 2 thrift stores for 100,000 people. That's it.
Wow.
With Value Village being big, they're into the Canadians are big into the 24-hour auction. They love them. So that's their big thing. But Value Village is it's like Tim Hortons. They love it, and they shop there all the time. And so when I go over there, if I go look at clothing, because it's a little more expensive than here, even with the exchange rate, I tend to look for stuff like Roots. You're familiar with the Roots brand, which is a Canadian brand. It's popular in the US too, but it's high quality clothing. I mean, it's really good. If the newer stuff's made overseas, but if you find it and it says made in Canada, you'll be able to sell it. I had from when I went over to the Roots store and bought my daughter a shirt for Christmas one year. I had the bag left over. I didn't give her the bag. I ended up listing the bag on eBay, and I sold it for over $10. It was just the bag the store gave me. I couldn't believe it. I could believe it because people like Roots. It's a popular brand. But sometimes you find unique things over there, and you bring them back, and try to sell them here in the United States because it's too expensive to ship to Canada. I don't think I've shipped to Canada in a long time. But I brought stuff over.
I wanted to ask you. That's something I want to ask you now.
Go ahead.
This is probably a stupid question, and viewers, please ignore my stupidity. But so I feel like really, really dumb for asking this, but I just want to know because as a seller, I do sell stuff to California,
Yep.
and I sell a lot of stuff on the East Coast. I very rarely sell to the Midwest. So here's my question: with you living so close to Canada, do you get a lot of Canadian sales?
Not really. Um, I
Okay.
have had people who. Well, wait a minute. So how it works, a lot of what a lot of Canadians do, especially on the border. I had some stuff that I did sell. They were like vintage automotive cans, and it went to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. But it went to this place that is like a you ship it place, and they have boxes. And the Canadians come over the border and they pick up their item, and then they
Yeah.
take it back. So I had 2 items I know I sold to Canadians. I know they were Canadians because they went to that business and not over to the border. Now I did have an experience. I went to an auction, and I was at the end again. I was at the end of the auction, and there was this Poulin, the same one I sold a part from. Weed whip, but it had all these accessories. You could change them out. You can cut a small tree down, all kinds of stuff. Well, I listed it on Facebook Marketplace for parts and repair.
Right, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't clarify. I was talking about
Oh, yeah.
Facebook when you listed.
Well, I
it on
ended up.
Facebook.
Well, I've been trying to get on a Canadian garage sale thing because I want to go over to garage sales there. Because man, talk about good content, something unique. A guy wanted it, and I had some errands to do in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Anyway, so I drove up there and I was delivered to him. When I got close, the map told me to keep going. I'm like, that's the border. So I sent him a message. Well, you listed it over on this site. I was like, I got approved to be on that site. It said only Canadians. It said you got to be in Sioux, Ontario. They approved me apparently, and when I clicked list in these other places, it listed it over there. So I said I can't go over there, and he was going to pay me some gas money, but not to go over the border. Gas money. I don't know how you would even explain that to the Canadian border guard. Yeah, I got this. You bring anything in the country, it's going to stay. I got this weed whacker back here, and they're going to pull me over, and they're going to rip my seats out and ask me all kinds of questions.
Do a body cavity search, and before
They
you know,
might, you're hiding weed whackers in there. I don't know. They don't know what they're going to do. So I didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I ended up. That's when I took the recoil off, and I've made my $2, and I'm going to take the rest to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it.
By the way, when you were talking about Playmobil in Canada, my wife texted me and said, I need a passport. And then she texted again just now. She said just sold some Playmobil to Canada today. So
really,
we had some Playmobil. Oh yeah, she put together an order for somebody who's wanting to buy several things today. So
we were in Germany.
I was just in general. I wasn't referring to eBay because I know eBay.
Oh no,
I didn't clarify that.
No, that's all right.
I was just referring because you live so close. And see, I wanted to ask Corey and them that too when they was on the show because they live South Dakota. To me is for me that's close to Canada.
That's Canada. South Dakota is Canada, basically, right?
Hey, I live 50 miles.
Corey, if you're watching the chat, Corey's gonna be upset with that. That you comparing him to a Canadian.
I live 50 miles from the border. So 50 miles from the border. It depends on which direction you go. So we go fishing in the Great Lakes, and so sometimes you're out fishing and you're only a few yards from the border, but the only way you can tell is you get on Google Maps. And during the pandemic, when you couldn't go over there, my buddy was like scared because he said, "Where's the border?" I said, "Well, it's like 400 feet that way." He goes, "Troll the other way. Get away from it." Going across the border is really no different than it's a little more hassle than going to another state. You either have an enhanced license or a passport. It's what's really fun is I went to a thrift store over there in St. Vincent de Paul, and they have by the door, they have t-shirts for $25. Well, the day I went there, they had stuff 50% off. So I'm like, 50% off $25 plus the exchange rate. I got that shirt for 9 cents. The one I just sold for $12 on Poshmark today, the Budweiser shirt, I paid 9 cents for it. American.
Nice.
Well, I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll do.
real quick,
That works.
Real quick, I want to touch base with what TC asked. He says any news on free ground advantage boxes? My post office didn't even know about it. All right,
Yeah.
TC, so we do know July the 29th, right, Brad? Isn't that what I said?
I don't remember, brother.
There is a TC. You can go back and watch my
I think maybe the 23rd. I think maybe the 23rd. That's the number stuck in my brain.
Yeah, it's one of the lives TC gives the actual date that they're going to be released on. So now, if they're going to release them to the whole country that same day, I don't know if they're just going to do it parts or what. I don't know, but I do have some other information on that I have failed to tell everybody since then. We are 99.9% sure they are going to be free. There will be flat rate boxes. There's actually going to be one that's 4 by 4 by something. It's going to be a small flat rate box also with that too. So we're looking at some good stuff coming out in July for the USPS. And that's going to be really, really nice because I'm tired of paying for brown boxes or digging through the dump for them.
I hope they have the equivalent of the priority box, that 12 by 12 by 8. I'd use a ton of those.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I like the shoebox one.
Yeah, so
the shoebox is pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep, that's a good.
Yeah,
hey, basically, for me, if they came out with basically the same sizes and maybe like a 12/8 box or something that they have in priority, I'd be happy with just basically.
Did you know? I just found this out because I tried to order them. Did you know they did away with the long flat rate game board boxes?
Yeah.
I'd never seen those.
When did they?
Yeah, they were really long.
Do that?
Wow.
I don't know, but I tell you what I did. There's still a couple of things that I do ship priority, and a lot of times board games might be those depending on the size. If it's like a longer board game. But whenever they were getting ready to phase out the regional A and B boxes,
I like those.
I liked them too. Yeah, I loved them. But the regional B box is like a perfect fit. It was just, I looked at the dimensions and it was literally like an 1/8 inch smaller on all the dimensions, and it slides right in the 1095 box. And so
those are big boxes.
Yeah. And so that's what I do my long board games in now. And I've got enough. I'll never run out of those.
Well, I got a bunch of them when I went in, I asked them if they had any, and they gave me all of them they had. There's another small post office box that's only a post office. That's probably a 15-20 minute drive from here. It's very rural. I was going to go in there and ask them if they had any boxes. They'd probably be glad I took them. They probably have 5 people a day go in there. It's pretty small. So I'm going to ask these smaller post offices, they have them, because on Poshmark you can use those and they work good for a lot of stuff that I sell on there. I hope that they do the Ground Advantage Tyvek bags. I like those. You know, I like those a lot. If I ever insulate my garage, those would be great to put as on the outside. Put them on the outside, keep the wind out. Use those. Yeah, if you cut them in half, you can redo your garage, your house. You don't have to buy it at Home Depot. Just use those.
Wait a minute. Is that a bag?
Yeah, it's like a
bag. They're Tyvek.
It's like a Tyvek bag. Yeah.
Oh, it's the envelope. Oh, okay. I call that an envelope.
Looks like it's probably a 15 by 12 or more.
Oh, not that one. That's the military pack. That's the military pack. Never mind.
Because what do you use those for? Because the Ground Advantage, you send it in a poly bag cheaper than you can those.
But if they have them as Ground Advantage, you could do it. They put those out.
Yeah.
If you're sending, like if you sell on Poshmark, that's what you want to put your shirts and your stuff in to ship it. Everything's priority on Poshmark. Yeah, but they're nice. They fit in there nice. Also, the bubble ones too are pretty good that they have, that the USPS has. They're a little heavier than a poly bag because they're Tyveks. So if you end up sending something to California, they work pretty good. Now I have in the last 6 months, I think I've shipped a few shirts to California, and it was cheaper to put them in priority mail envelope and shove them in there flat rate, either the legal or the regular one, and they go good to California. That works pretty good there. I hope they do a whole bunch of the same kind of shipping containers that they use for the other. Why reinvent something? That's kind of what I would think, but it's the post office, so they're going to do something different.
I ain't gonna lie. I kind of hope they give us a box. So I've been using a box that's 11 by 7.5 by 5.5. I've been using that, but I want to have one that's maybe a 10 or 9, but instead of the 11, have it 9 or 10 size. Maybe 9 by 7.5 or 5.5, but I think 11 is just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Corey's on a roll, isn't he?
Yeah, I know.
Corey's
He's just raging. He's raging tonight. He's so angry.
Yeah, he's raging. Yeah.
I told him to be nice to California. Be nice to California.
They nice stuff. I'll be honest with you. The whole country. I'm not going to get into politics, and all I'm going to say is the whole country has a right to be mad. Well, I will. I'm gonna be. I don't care what side you on. You got a right to be mad today. You do. You have a right to be mad. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go turn your news channel on.
I won't say anything political because honestly, I'm kind of ambivalent towards politics. But I will say this: I was really hoping we were going to just get to this election without a bunch of huge dust up, and it didn't quite happen. Enough said.
Yeah.
I like California pop. So, I send stuff. I send like 2 or 3 things to California a day. It seems like so.
Yeah, they buy a lot of stuff out there.
They do.
Hey, look, there was a time. If it wasn't for California and the West Coast, man, I would have starved to death reselling because I remember there were weeks, man, that out there during that pandemic or whatever, man, them folks were buying everything I had. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Brad votes for Dolphin fans, right?
Now the thing is that they don't buy chainsaws in California, so I don't sell any chainsaws to California. But a lot of them go down your way. A lot of them go down your way, Chris. They go down your way. They go to the south.
You can't cut down those big old trees they got with a regular chainsaw.
A willow tree? I don't know what you can get those down with.
Big old redwoods.
Yeah, redwoods. Yeah.
Hey, they buy tents. I will tell you that they buy tents all day long. You can sell a tent out there.
Yeah, that's because they gotta have a place to put it in the park in LA, on the street.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I've never seen any such, man. I'm 51 years old, man, and the things I've seen in the last 2.5, 3 years, man. Oh, our views just dropped. We just lost 5 viewers just like that, man. But look, man, in the last 3 years, I have never seen anything like what's going on in this country, man. I mean, just people in general are just rude and it's crazy. It's crazy, man. I tell you what, my grandpa and my daddy's rolling over in their grave right now. But anyway,
so I have a question for the both of you. I have a question for you. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So it's on my mind. I've been thinking about it, and people selling stuff. What's the weirdest thing you guys have sold online? Strangest thing.
You go ahead, Brad.
Weird. The first thing that pops into my mind is a protest doll. It's called a protest doll, and I can't think of the actual name of it. I'd have to do a little spicing, or I'd have to do a little looking. I have my spicy on the brain. I have to do a little looking, a little searching, but I think a protest doll was maybe the weirdest thing. It's almost felt like a blow mold. It was from the 60s. It was from the 60s though. Some doctor in Nashville bought it.
Must have been very rare.
Yeah, and it sold quick. And while y'all are talking, I'll look at it, see if I can find it. But
Well, go ahead and tell yours, Darcy, because I'm trying to think.
Well,
I don't.
according to eBay, I've been on eBay as long as I've been married. Over 20 years. Because when I called when you finally get a human, they thank you for your 18 years of being on eBay. So early on, when I was selling stuff on eBay, I did it more as for fun, but I made money. And I had a couple things where I thought, well, I'll try this. Because I just came to my mind. I had a neighbor when we lived in Indiana. He had this pine tree and all these huge pine cones in there. Well, I said, I wonder if they'll sell on eBay. Yep. You put them in a flat rate box. Somebody pay you $22.50 flat rate ship. So I sold those. Well, then same neighbor had a walnut tree. You know those big green things that go around the walnuts before the nut shows up? You know, it rots away and you have the walnut left.
Yeah.
Well, people were buying those. So I shoved a whole bunch of those in a large flat rate and sold those. And then I thought, man, I got all these acorns in my yard. I put those in a box. And I put crafts or deer bait. I sold those and put those in a box.
Golly. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel left out because I just asked my wife too, and we can't think of anything weird, like that. I mean, I've had some items that just blowed my mind and what people paid for them, but nothing weird.
So would you think this is weird, you guys? I last year when I was out picking during a citywide cleanup, I went to this one house, and I wish I would have had business cards at that time. I could have gave it to them because they were cleaning out this house, just throwing everything out. And in that same, I started digging around in their stuff, and it was pretty dirty. And besides the Intellivision that I found under a pool, it's totally dirty. I got in a bag in the garage. I'm not selling it. I'm going to disassemble it and clean it up, and I'm going to keep it because I had one when I was a kid. We had one growing up. But in that pile of stuff was a full can of Maxwell House coffee with the lid sealed from the 80s. I sold that for $25 on eBay.
Golly.
It's sealed.
I'll tell you the strangest thing that I sold. Let's go with the strangest thing I've ever sold. And it's an everyday thing, but it's just strange. So when I first got into doing this business, I did do scrap metal, and so I did construction, and then I went in transition into scrap because at the time scrap was really, really high. Well, I had a thrift store that was put a bin out back by their dumpster, and any kind of pot, pan, electronic kitchen appliance or whatever it didn't work, they throwed it in that bin, and I'd come by and take it to the scrap yard. Well, I found a crock pot. They had a crock pot, an old crock pot, and I was already getting into reselling. And then, so what I was doing at the time is I was taking parts off of these kitchen appliances and I was selling them. Shout out to Osborne the Thrift, because he was always said to Tim was always watching his videos about parting out that stuff. So that's what gave me the idea. Well, I took a knob off a crock pot. That was the only thing worth selling on that thing. And I took that knob off that turns it from high to low to medium, right? I put that sucker on eBay, and somebody, you ain't gonna believe this. I put the title of the type of crock pot it was. I researched the crock pot, and it was an old one. It was like from the 70s or whatever. And just put knob and put a picture of the knob. It sold for $13 plus shipping. And somebody was throwing that in a dumpster, and I'm sitting there thinking, and that just hooked me. I ain't gonna lie, because this is like when I very first started, and I was like, wow, that just hooked me, because, I mean, that's more than what you could buy a crock pot for now. The blender jars, the glass, the old vintage glass. Shout out to Leroy for giving me 30 blenders. Appreciate that, buddy. The old glass jars. Those glass jars. Listen, during the pandemic, you can sell those glass jars more than you can buy the whole blender for. I mean, it was crazy. I don't understand that. I mean, it just blowed my mind. I mean, and today I can still sell those glass jars, and I can't get as much as I could in the pandemic. But by the time the person buys it and then pays shipping, you could probably go to the store and add a couple of dollars and get you a brand new one. And but people,
yeah, but you couldn't get one. You couldn't get a blender like that. That blender is built better.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they sell the ones with glass jars anymore. I think they're all
they
plastic
don't.
jars.
But
now.
the motor's different. Like we've had really, the one I think we got for a wedding gift was cheap and it burned up. I got a Ninja one, and you could put a whole chicken in there and grind it up and drink it if you wanted to. I mean, it's amazing. But the old ones though really worked well. They really worked well. You know, they were good things. So something that happened, I went to the Family Dollar here in town. I was looking for boxes, see if they had any boxes, and there was a TV in there. There was a Hensei TV. I threw it in the car. Came home, plugged it in. Was to sell it on Marketplace if it worked. Didn't turn on. I took the legs off, and I disassembled. Actually, I can disassemble a TV in 20 minutes, and sold all the parts. I sold the legs within a week for 13 something. Because most people who have flat screen TVs, I don't have them like this, but a lot of people put them on the wall, throw the legs out. And then if they want the legs, they got to buy them on eBay. And so if you're driving down the road, I'd keep a cordless screwdriver in your car, and you see the legs on the TV, take them off. You'll make $14. It'll take you 1 minute to take them off. Just take a picture of the plate on it and get the model number. And when we were out picking, I had my Milwaukee out there. My son's taking a video of me. He's taking the legs off. He's going to sell them on eBay. Because people will buy them. They'll buy them. Right. They'll buy the speakers. They'll buy the boards. Yeah. I've learned a lot. I took about.
Sir?
Go ahead. What you got right there?
I just found a quick shot of somebody who had one of those protest dolls online, and I couldn't find one on eBay. I couldn't find one on eBay, but I think that's the one that we had right there.
Is it foam?
No, it's almost like the blow mold type material, like that plastic kind of stuff.
That's creepy.
Yeah, you're probably not going to find one with the. You typically, if you find one, it's probably going to be missing the sign, or the sign's going to be broken off. But yeah, they'll sell for good money. If you find one of those, they sell for good money.
He looks kind of like that guy on Sesame Street. The one guy, Snuffleupagus.
Yeah, he's like Cousin It mixed with a hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Cousin It. That's awesome. All right. Well, it's 8:40. We've been on here for a while. So, Brad, you got anything for us?
May possibly be running a auction, part of the auction train on Thursday with One Stop Shop. I'm not sure. Other than that, I don't really have anything. It was awesome to meet you, Darcy.
Nice to meet you too.
Everybody go check out Podunk Picker's page, like and subscribe, and let's support each other on those things.
I'm halfway to 1,000. Halfway to 1,000.
Do it. Yeah, awesome. And if you find any good Playmobil deals that you don't want to fool with, keep us in mind.
I'll keep you in mind. If Darcy, I see one in Canada, I'll be thinking about you.
Yeah.
Darcy, you got anything coming out on your channel, or anything you're doing special coming up, anything you want to know?
My son is helping me. He went to school for video production and editing, and I finally got him to help me a little bit. He's out looking for something in the video industry and movie industry, maybe, to get a job. But we did in January, my daughter was in from Montana, and we all went to the Goodwill bins together. So he was there. So he's going to help me edit that and try to get that out. We had a fun time. Very interesting. There's a couple Goodwill bins I've gone to. This one was kind of like, I would compare it to a riot. It was like going to a riot, organized riot. Oh, wow. And I got yelled at there because I was asking, I'd picked up. So there's a Josh, I think it's Josh Graff. He takes apart sewing machines. So I saw a sewing machine in the bin. I picked it up. I went and asked the person. They had to go talk to the manager. It was $2 for the sewing machine. Then the guy asked me, "Is that on?" I said, "Yeah," and I turned it off. I should have left the camera on while he was talking to me. And he said, "We only allow media." So we had a debate in the car what media is, because bloggers are now considered a media. And some people on YouTube are considered media. So he was going to go back and get a card and come back. I wasn't going to wait for him, so we left. And it's funny, this division of Goodwill is the same one. I go to another one, and they could care less if I videotape, because they see me with my phone and my GoPro. They don't say a word. This place did, because I think they're afraid of us. I don't know. We're going to say bad things. We can say bad things and not videotape you. People are doing it. Yeah. But it was just it was not bad. It was fun. My son had never been there. My oldest one, my youngest one's been to one of those, and my daughter had never been to one. And so they were just finding stuff. And it was, my 7-year-old understands that. He's been to a couple of bins things. We went to one that was run by St. Vinny's in Green Bay, and he only wants to look at the ones that have toys. And if he sees Legos, we're in there picking every Lego out of the bin. Good thing it doesn't cost that much. It doesn't cost that much. And we know what the old ones are. So some of them, are old. And he's wanted me to try to sell some of those Legos I got in Canada on Bricklink. You familiar with that?
Oh, yeah. I got a Bricklink account.
Yeah, where they just sell individual pieces of Legos and stuff. Yeah, he's on there all the time looking at stuff. I just don't know if I can do another platform. I'd rather sell hats on your thing there, Chris, because I think that'd be easier to do.
Come on, buddy. There's a link in the description of this one.
I'll definitely check it out. I got a lot of hats.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. We'd love to have you over there. So, guys, this week we're going to be, I got a video I'm going to be putting out about my auction finds or auction deals or whatever. We're going to discuss that. And then I still got this tote that I bought for $13.99 at Goodwill, mystery tote. I will say this. I think it has a transformer in it. Ooh. I think it's a G1 transformer. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't even opened it up yet. So we're going to try. We're working our death pile down to that bin because I want to get a video out of that mystery box on there. So we're going to try and do that here with this next week. And let's see. Link below to Playmobil. Brad's codes there. $5 off. Anything on District, any marketplace on District. Link below for Hatify. Code there for $5. And Brad, you raised your hand like you have something to say.
I do.
Go ahead.
In 2 weeks, we're going to be on a different time. We're going to be on a Tuesday. Death Pile Picker's coming on. So.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be great.
Now, 2 weeks. Now, is Chris going to figure out how to bleep him?
Yeah. Hey. So I messaged, he said, if you're going to figure out how to bleep him, I messaged Mike, and, I told him, I was like, and he said, I just realized y'all do a live. He said, bold move, Cotton.
Oh no, that's right, because Kevin's all the time getting on to him, telling me he's like, you can't say that on video.
You just had to put a parental advisory on it and let it go, man.
Parental advisory,
you don't have to. Not made for kids, not made for children.
No, it wouldn't be.
So so it looks like we're gonna have a good how do you say explicit. A rated R show coming up. That's gonna be something. Holy cow, man! I didn't think about that. That's gonna be great to have him, man. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm so happy Darcy come along here. Hopefully we can get you back on here another time too.
It was fun.
Guys, leave the comments below. Check all the links below. It shouldn't be just me and Brad. I'm going to end up putting Darcy's channel in the description also. You guys can click on that, go over there, subscribe, watch some of his videos. He's got some pretty cool stuff going on over there. And hey, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see y'all next week.